if I would like for that to be the goal, I'm like, okay, well, how do I pique her interest in it? How do I how do I try to help her? I don't know how to say it right. Like, I don't want to force her to go out and take putting practice, but I take her to the course with me. And she's got now where she'll go get a disc out of my bag and get up on the tee pad and throw it.
So she's showing some interest.
Well,
just by seeing.
Yeah, I think right now she just, they want to copy you. They want to do whatever you do. You know what I'm saying? If she has interest in understanding why she catches me in the bathroom peeing too. She's like, "What the hell are you doing, Dad?" And I'm like, "God dang,
stand up."
Yeah. But right now she just wants to copy anything.
Right.
If I'm doing anything, she wants to come help.
I really do think now that I got a grown kid and I have two little boys. I got my grown son, two little boys. I think I really did my oldest a disservice by not forcing him in the garage when I was doing shit or outside, doing things that you need to learn or it will be good to know as you get older.
Be good to know. Yeah.
Whether you're interested or not, you can say, "Man, my dad showed me that. I know this. Oh, I know exactly what your problem is."
And then again, you can apply those same lessons to something that, maybe you do have interest in, but you don't want to, there's always a certain level of, no matter how much you like something, at some point it becomes a grind. And you got to know how to grind.
Oh, we discussed that the other day.
We discussed that the other day.
The hustle versus the grind.
I was just thinking I'll probably bring that up in this.
You don't want to talk about it right now?
Oh, no, we can't, because I think we could go forever. But,
hustle versus grind.
When we, the thing I remember from our conversation, I don't remember which one of us said it, but, this is when the hustle turns into a grind.
Yeah, or you said, "Man, yeah, I'm grinding it out," or something. I was like, well, that's when the grind becomes,
the hustle becomes the
grind.
The hustle becomes the grind, yep.
Depending on how you're doing, or I guess your results. Is it depicted upon results?
Sometimes, like if you go to a show and it rains like crazy, that's your hustle. If you do 5 weekends in a row that you get rained on like I have,
I'm in the grind.
Now it's a grind.
Yeah.
It's a grind. I'm going to be honest with you, it was a grind for me to come downtown today.
The meat grinder.
You
and the meat grinder.
Yeah. And sometimes you're in the meat grinder.
I guess that kind of plays back to when we talked about discipline last week.
Yeah.
Are you going to be disciplined enough to continue?
To do it even when it's hard.
Even when it's hard.
Even when it's
if
hard.
You're not seeing the results.
Even when you really don't want to.
Or you don't want to.
But that's kind of like what we're doing here. As far as, now, I think we're definitely seeing results. They're not financial. But when I say results, I'm not even talking about our growth in subscribers and downloads. And, we've definitely seen a steady increase in the measurable matrix of this podcast. But there are immeasurable matrix of this podcast that nobody but the three of us understands because we're the only ones here doing it. But I'll give a great example.
Okay.
I'm the last 5 weeks, it's no secret, it's been a grind for me.
Right.
The results have not been there. I show up at shows, rained out, closed because of rain. It's been a tough month, not just financially, but mentally. When you work that hard and you don't see the results and you got to keep going because like you and I talked about, eventually you're going to hit a home run.
Right.
You may strike out 20 times in a row, but eventually, if you keep going and keep working and you have a successful platform, but sometimes that success isn't immediate. It comes on the overall. Maybe the next show I go, I work one and I knock it out of the park. I don't know. But it's been a struggle for me to maintain my mental motivation over the last month or so. And I'll be honest with you, I felt that way coming today. There was a part in the back of my brain that said, you know what, I'm going to call them and tell them I ain't showing up tonight.
Oh, man.
I'm just, I'm not going to do it.
I would have mentally cussed you.
You should have mentally come to my house and beat my mentally ass. This is what you should have done if I'd have done that stuff.
You rule today. You counseled on me.
That's one of the things that having a community, and this is a very small community, but the three of us being here is a community. If I were doing this by myself, I might not have recorded a podcast tonight.
Yep.
But I don't want to let you down.
Right.
This is not just about me.
And vice versa. Right.
This is not just about me.
Right.
This is about us, and it's about something we're doing. And then also, I knew that once we started talking, it was going to be better. I didn't necessarily want to, I had to make a mental choice to come down here tonight. But I knew that once I did, things were going to be better.
Correct.
I knew it was going to be a positive thing for my mental outlook, my mental health, if you were.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm old enough to know that sometimes you power through what you don't necessarily want to do because you know the results are going to be better.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad you didn't cancel.
I'm glad I didn't cancel too, because I feel a million times better now. You know what?
Took PTO today. I'm glad you didn't take that PTO.
And I'll say this: I showed up at the PTO.
Old to you.
We ain't got no PTO no more.
Time off. Yeah, ain't no PTO. We make our own PTO.
But you know what? I showed up at the coffee shop tonight. Still kind of in a funk mood.
Okay.
Not even kind of. I only played 9 holes of disc golf today. Okay. I quit after 9 holes. I was throwing so bad. I'm gonna be honest with you. I bogeyed 8 holes straight. And I'm like, I ain't fixing to put myself. Now on the 9th hole, got the birdie. Okay, like, come on, man. But I had told myself, okay, you're throwing like crap, but you're going to at least finish 9 holes. I don't care if you hit every tree in the park. You're going to finish the 9 holes. And I did. And on the 9th hole, I got the birdie, which should have given me a bit of a dopamine rush, but not really. Okay. So I show up at the coffee shop, still in that funk.
Okay.
I'm polite to the ladies, but that's all. Just polite. Went in, ordered my thing. And as I'm ordering, Hunter took my order. And as I'm ordering my order, she said, how you doing today? As she does. She's super friendly. And I said something about I'm struggling. She said, oh, I'm sorry. What, that's, just life. I'm not fixing to, get into a big old thing. I'm not going to be Debbie Downer to the very sweet young lady. Okay. So she let it go. Then, she said, okay, well, Then she comes out with my coffee. And she sets it down. And she looks me dead in the eye where I can tell she's, she's giving me her attention for that moment. And she says, I really hope your month gets better.
Ooh.
Made a big difference.
The month just started.
And that's what I told her.
She said that on the 2nd, not the 31st.
Yeah. But that's what I told her. I said, it's a new month now. It's a new month now. Yep. But just those words of encouragement from somebody that's, young enough to be younger than my kids.
She's young enough to be my daughter.
For sure. Young enough to be your daughter. And
she's very wise, man.
She is very wise.
I enjoyed talking to her. Yep. That's why I was like, man, damn, this girl got a lot of sense.
And you never know until you start talking to somebody.
You start talking to her.
And to look at Hunter, she looks very young.
Well, she is.
She is very young, obviously. But she, as a 53-year-old man, I could say, this kid doesn't have any words of wisdom to give me. I got nothing to learn from her.
I gained something from her.
I gained something too. It would be such a, it would be a wrong to myself if I didn't give her an opportunity
based on her age.
Yeah, just because of her age, or because
of her age, you can't tell me nothing.
You can. She told me something.
How many old people get into that though?
I think that's a real problem
with the youth.
I think that's a real problem.
What you got to tell me? You still wet behind the ears.
When I was
still pooping green.
Still pooping green.
Yeah. You never heard that with the old folks? You say you still pooping green.
Still pooping green.
Still wet behind your.
I've heard wet behind the ears. Yeah.
Your breath smell like Similac. Your breath still smell like Similac. The old people have all the funny ass sayings. Say when you're young, those sayings really try to discredit you and disqualify you just because of your youth.
I agree. You ever heard the saying, children should be seen and not heard?
Seen and not heard.
That's so stupid, I think.
That is so stupid.
I think that's so stupid.
That's the stupidest thing. I never said that bullshit to neither of my kids.
No, I never said that to mine
either.
Seen,
not heard.
But I was told that over and over growing up. Children should be seen and not heard.
And you could tell Hunter, her parents did a great job with her. That's why I was like, your parents.
It's grown-ups talking.
It's grown-ups talking.
Okay, but
you don't talk when grown folks talking.
I think that's wrong.
You don't talk when grown folks talking.
You should be respectful.
Definitely. Don't butt in.
Don't butt in, for sure.
Be respectful.
And understand that you don't have the knowledge that the grown folks have. But if you're never allowed to join the conversation, then how do you learn how to be part of a conversation? Mm-hmm. I think that's important.
Don't talk with grown folks talking.
Don't talk with grown. That's so. I hate that, man. I hate that.
Old folks, man, used to say some bullshit.
But that's why you get old folks with the attitude.
Old folks.
The world these days is so terrible. These kids these days. Imagine if you took that attitude that, these kids these days don't know anything. They're going to be the ones running it here real soon.
Real soon.
I'm 53 years old. I'm already past my prime.
They finna be running the world real soon.
And they're finna be running the world. And if we never,
real soon.
If all we do is disrespect them for no reason other than their age.
And disqualify them and discredit them.
That's a tragedy.
It is.
It's a tragedy.
It is.
And I think that's one of the reasons why Kay Ivey signed that stupid bill about cannabis.
Oh man.
I don't want to get in the weeds about that, but
no pun intended.
No pun. I didn't even catch that.
No pun intended.
That's hilarious. Yep.
Oh, I get. But that's how you. Okay.
That's how you get the attitudes that say that
for some plant material.
Well, take it
when
to
you really look at it, it's plant. It's fucking plant.
Take it to another level. You know what MDMA is?
No, I do not. I've heard of
MDMA.
MDMA. Ecstasy, ain't it?
Ecstasy, yeah. It's
ecstasy.
used as a party drug, and it's ecstasy. But when used under clinical supervision, it has a 70% success rate of curing PTSD. And it's about to be...
Now, curing and treating are two different things. Is it treating my PTSD or is it curing my PTSD?
I don't want to talk like a doctor, but I've listened to several doctors talk about it. Andrew Huberman today,
we've been talking legalese.
We've been talking legalese.
Legal terms.
The success that they're having in treating people with,
is it curing and treatment is two different things.
You know what ayahuasca is?
And they don't like to cure shit.
You know what ayahuasca is?
Hell no.
It's another psychedelic drug. It's illegal in the United States, but it's a big industry in South America.
Sound like some Native American or smoke or grow.
Okay, yeah. It's I don't
like a peyote or something.
Peyote,
like it's you mix it with your peyote and it's like your twin brother, like an evil twin brother though. Like
it's really interesting you say that because ayahuasca is actually two separate drugs that are combined together, and individually they don't do anything, but together they give you a different kind of experience. But all right, Ron White, the comedian.
Okay.
Big time alcoholic his entire life. Drinking, that was part of his show. I mean, he was drunk on stage. I've seen him live twice, and by the Late Show, dude was...
Oh, yeah, you get lit on the Late Show.
Wasted.
Yeah.
Wasted.
Yeah.
And he lived his entire life like that. And his doctor finally said, hey, man, you got a choice. And he didn't know how to quit drinking. And he went to South America and did an ayahuasca experience and came back a non-drinker. Hadn't had a drop of drink since.
Does he still do ayahuasca though?
It's not something you do every day. It's a maintenance thing. You'll do it once a year or maybe every couple years or whatever.
So it's like a permanent nicotine patch or some shit or a permanent alcohol.
It rewires your brain. We talked about psilocybin, but it's a way of helping your brain to rewire itself so that you can change the way you think about things. And if you can change the way you think, then you can change your actions.
Right. It's all in your head.
You lead with your mind.
Yeah, you do.
The PTSD treatment that psychedelics have shown so much promise in, the way they say it works, and I don't want to, again, I'm not a doctor, but they say it allows you to relive whatever experience it was that gave you trauma, but with the ability to change that experience in your mind as you're going through it. It's not necessarily pleasant, but it allows you to, let's say you're a war veteran and you saw terrible things. Whatever imprint that left on your mind, what the doctors are saying now is that psychedelics allow you to go back and relive that, but with the ability to change your mindset on how you cope with it. That's probably way oversimplified. Don't anybody listen to this and say, Shane said go use drugs. I'm not saying to, and I'm not saying not to.
Ayahuasca.
But I'm saying that from a medical standpoint, apparently the FDA is about to legalize MDMA for clinical use.
Okay.
Because it shows so much promise in police officers.
And then they can finally put their grubby little fingers on it.
Yeah, and that's going to be the problem.
For the tax cattle.
That's going, not just the tax, but the regulation and
and all that.
That's a whole nother conversation we had earlier too. I don't know. But here's the thing. We talk about drugs are bad, right?
Drugs are bad.
Everybody uses drugs.
Drugs are bad.
You drink coffee, that's a drug.
Sugar,
it doesn't give you energy.
Caffeine,
sugar, caffeine, antidepressants.
My opioids.
Opioids, they have their uses.
Yeah.
I sure am glad that when I had my appendix out that I was able to have
an opioid.
And that was fentanyl. They give you fentanyl to put you, that's what they give you in the hospital if you're going to get an operation. You're getting fentanyl. And boy, I'm glad they had it.
Morphine.
Fentanyl
is like synthetic morphine, ain't it?
I think so.
Do they correlate with one another?
Pretty sure they're all in the opioid category. I think.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, Shay, I think we're due for an introduction.
I think we are due for an introduction.
Oh
yeah, we're a little late.
We're a little late. I bet we've been going for about 10, 12 minutes.
14. You're getting pretty good at that.
At least I knew it was more than 10,
You're getting
but not
pretty
too
good at
much more than 12. That's why I said 10 to 12.
Oh, what are we doing today? What you want to give me a theme?
Intro.
All right.
We talked about Jaws. Dun, 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 dun. Shane the Brain Shark. Do 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 do. Shane the Brain Shark. Do 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 do. Shane the Brain Shark. Do 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 do. Shane the Brain Shark.
That is very funny. Okay, so as I prepare myself to think of a introduction, I was talking to Artie Dean. Shout out Artie Dean. And
shout out Artie Dean.
Artie invited again. When I talked to him Sunday, he said, y'all can come up here every Sunday if you want to.
Man.
We need to make that happen.
Damn, Artie's the man.
So we need to think of
I gotta know how to get away though, because I'm in like pretty much a one-man show. One-man operation. It's hard for me to get away from the trailer.
Bring Leilani.
These last few
and it doesn't resonate the same weeks. If it's just me.
No.
I got up and said a few words this time, but it felt awkward not having.
And it won't resonate with just me.
Yeah.
You give us credibility. They gonna look at me.
We're the
like,
dynamic duo. You give me too much credibility is what it is.
Up here on stage.
But we need to think of a good live intro. When we stand up, we need to have something to say that's going to get their attention immediately. They're like, what are these two guys doing? I don't know what that intro will be.
I don't know either, Shane.
I could do the UTFO.
But I say that getting up there is the only way we're going to work on it.
That's true.
And I mean, I bet out the month, I bet we'll have something dialed in pretty well.
Kind of, we've always done it that way. Just let it form organically. Let it form organically,
and I bet out the about 2, 3, 4 tries, we'll have something dialed in pretty good. Like that action breeds clarity.
Well, you know what? I got an idea.
We got to put some action. We got to put our money where our mouth is.
We've never done a sing-along introduction. We sing a lot. We've never done it as an introduction.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what comes to my mind today?
I hope I know the song.
You do. Because it's been today's been an interesting.
It ain't Mustang Sally, is it?
No, it ain't.
Okay, hallelujah. Damn, Shane.
Hallelujah. There's one.
Sweet Home Alabama.
Nah, we can't do that. But this one is almost as ubiquitous.
Okay.
You know it. But I'm reminded of the fact.
Is it that one?
No.
Oh, damn. That's 3.
That would be wild if you came up with it.
3 strikes on out.
But I'm reminded of the fact that I came down here today in sort of a funky mood and being around my friends, people that I care about deeply, I already feel a million times better.
Oh, damn.
So with that in mind, you ready?
Bring a tear to my eye.
Friends. How many of us have them? Friends. Ones you can depend on. Friends. Before we go any further, let's be friends. Yeah, that's a good way to start it out.
Hey, man, shout out friends.
Shout out friends.
Real friends, not just acquaintances or people that just blow smoke up your
friends,
ass.
The word we use every day.
Yes.
And most of the time we use it in the wrong way.
Not Facebook friends.
Not Facebook friends.
Real friends.
Not casual market friends.
Correct.
Something that goes deeper.
Genuine friends. How would you define friend? What is a fucking friend? I don't even know what the definition of friend is.
We know the dictionary doesn't know the meaning of friends.
Put it in your own words.
In my words, what's friends?
How would you define a friend? Let's be friends. I guess that song kind of defined it for you a little bit.
I do think that. You know what I say as a friend? Here's what I'm going to give. A friend is somebody who truly wants you to be the best person you can be.
Yeah.
A friend is somebody who has seen you at your worst and still loves you.
Mm-hmm.
A friend is somebody who you can disagree with without being disagreeable.
Can I interject there?
Please.
So, like, you say seeing you at your worst, I think to go even a little bit further, a friend would be willing to see you at your worst, whether they've seen you at that worst just yet, and still be in your corner, or still ready to pick you up.
Yeah. That's a good way. That's a better way of describing it, actually.
I think
I haven't seen you at your worst.
You haven't seen me at my worst,
and you haven't seen me at my worst.
If you did, you probably wouldn't even know.
I would hope I would know.
You hope you would know.
I would hope you would communicate.
I
would hope that you would.
I'm an open book.
I hope you would trust me enough to say I'm struggling with this.
I'm an open book, but I do have a hard time asking for help, though.
Me too.
We've
explored that.
Like shit.
Yeah.
I have a hard time asking for help.
But that's one of the things that I respect about you. If you call me and ask for help, I know you're not bullshitting.
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to call me and be like, I need some help. and let's say it was a financial help. I need $100, and I give you $100, and then I find out the next day you went gambling with it or whatever.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I had that happen to me. A family member asked me for $500 to go visit their father.
$500, good chunk of change.
It is a good chunk of change.
Even right now, $500.
100%. And this was 20 years ago or so, 15 years ago. But this person asked me for $500 because didn't have the money to travel to go see the father who was on their deathbed, or at least bad sick, right?
So it's some sympathy there.
I gave him the $500. Of course. I'd give you the $500 if I had it. Of course, yeah.
Just because of the situation.
So I give him the $500, and then I come back and find out that they were involved in a big family poker game where there was hundreds of dollars in the pot, and they were gambling in there with it. And I'm like, you gambled with my money. And you know what they said? I didn't gamble with your money. I gambled with my own money. I used yours for travel, and then I used mine to get. I had to come apart.
Or did they ever pay the money back then?
Eventually, but only because I had to come apart. This was like a year later that I hadn't seen anything, hadn't heard anything, nothing. And I'm like, look, I'm not trying to be kind of way, but I don't have $500 to lose necessarily. And you promised me it wasn't a gift; it was a loan. I learned a lesson on that too.
Yeah,
if you can't afford to live without it, then
don't even
maybe,
give it.
Then don't even loan it.
Don't even loan it.
But then I found out this person, and the excuse again was, well, I used your money for what I said. I was traveling and stuff, and I had enough of my own money. Well, you should have used your own money to travel then and told people you didn't have the money for the poker game.
Right.
Right? I mean, that's how I felt about it. It was a big problem. Still is kind of, there's still a little bit of
some tension there.
I wouldn't give them money again.
I ain't forgot.
Yeah,
you done burnt that bridge.
Yeah. Don't come ask me for money again.
Yeah, that bridge is burnt.
That one's gone.
Gone.
Yep.
I don't even think it's rebuildable. I learned that lesson too when it came to giving people money, because I remember one time I let $50 get in between me and a friendship.
That's tough. $50.
Just 50 fucking
$50.
Bucks. Go years without talking to somebody over $50.
Over $50.
Then you got to, I guess, with age and maturity, and just be like, is $50 worth my friendship?
Right.
Was it worth my friendship with this person?
Well, and in this case, I felt like and still feel like that I was being deceived.
Mm-hmm.
Because if this person had the money to gamble with, then they did, in fact, have enough money to travel.
Correct.
Maybe they were going to be tight or whatever, but okay, travel tight. And if you get out there stranded, then call me.
Right.
And I'll wire you some money or whatever it is. But, do the best you can with what you got. Do all you can to help yourself before you come and asking me for help.
So something like $50, I'm just going to give it to you because I don't even want to get into that to where I'm mad at you because you promised to pay me back. Don't even promise to pay me back. I'm giving it to you as a gift.
Right.
$500, I might want my money back.
Yeah. And in this case, I could have done without the $500.
Well, you gave it to him, so I'm pretty sure you could have done it. But
I was a year before I got that $5 back.
$500.
But $500 is $500.
$500. What if we broke and become millionaires? Everybody's going to have a handout, Shane.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Everybody. So then when do you say yes or no? Like, would it be hard to say no?
I think sometimes it would, especially if you
easier to say yes than it is to say no. I don't know.
If you're living in excess, for me, $1 million would be, that's excess for me. I could do fine. If you gave me 100,000, I'd be good for a long time.
I think $1 million split 3 ways would be damn great.
I'd be fine with it. I'm not turning it down.
Shit.
Yep.
$1 million.
$1 million. Steve Harvey said something about that. He said when he first became successful and started getting some money, of course, everybody comes out, second cousin, twice removed.
Everybody comes out the woodwork
with some kind of sad story or whatever. And he said his response was, what would you be doing if you didn't know me? Because whatever that is, that's what you need to get to doing now. And there's another Steve Harvey quote where he said, the best thing you can do to help poor people is not be one of them. That's a Steve Harvey quote.
That's
the best thing you can do to help poor people is not to be one of them. That's powerful to me. Yeah.
Is that helping them though? I don't know. Fuck. It'd be hard for me not to give a lot if I got wealthy.
You know what
not at the expense of taking care of myself and my family.
Of course.
But like excess.
Sure.
Shit.
It would be hard not to give up excess.
It'd be hard not to give up excess for me.
I think one of the things I would do.
I guess you got to get burnt a couple times though. I bet people that's been rich a long time done got burnt a lot of times, and now it's easier to say no.
But let's say we hit.
Okay.
We each get $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing to do is to pick people who you would be willing to help out, and go on ahead and help them out before okay, I got $1 million. I got 4 people that I love enough to do something for.
Mm-hmm.
Here's $100,000 each, or whatever the number is. This is what I can. Either you do well with this, or you don't do well with it. One way or another, this is what I'm going to do for you, and don't come back asking for more.
Don't come back asking
I gave
for
you
more.
a lot more than you would have had, and I mean, if somebody dropped $50,000 on you right now, you would put that money to good use.
Very good use.
That money would turn into $100,000.
I damn sure try to make it.
Or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, you wouldn't go out and, squander it. We wouldn't catch you in the casino, in the high roller table.
I wouldn't pull up in a brand new truck decked out with this. I'd be trying to, how can we double this money?
How can we make this money work for us?
How can we make this money work for us?
I'm going to tell you now, if somebody dropped 50 on me, I'd probably just put it on my mortgage. Probably just drop it right there on my mortgage and be done with it. You know what I'm saying?
Would that pay the home off?
No.
I wouldn't do it then. That's not benefiting you in no way.
Oh, I think it is.
No.
Think of the interest that you would save if you could drop $50,000 on your mortgage. You still
gonna have the same payment every month. That ain't doing nothing for you right now at the moment. Yeah, it might help.
No, but I think it would do long term.
It might help you 15 years down the road.
If you put 50 on your mortgage right now, you would probably save another 20 in interest payments over the life of that loan. If you put 50 on it,
that ain't doing that for you right now. We talking right. I need money now. I'm not talking.
Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't do anything.
I'd be like, okay, what can we do to grow the podcast a little bit more? I can
see
do
that.
Some updates to the trailer that might bring in a little bit more money every event.
Something that would bring in more money.
Not just throwing it all at my house.
Dropping it on your house.
You already got the loan on the house and the payments to payment. Okay.
True, but again, if you look over the long term, how much would that 50 save you on your mortgage? A bunch. A lot of interest money.
If that's what you're willing to do with, I would not recommend it. I'd be like, go do something that we could try to double this 50 in the next couple months.
I would definitely put some on this podcast.
Then the more money we're starting to bringing in, generating over the course of the year, maybe you could start putting a little bit more money
that would generate income. I see what you're saying. Not just saving money.
Yeah, not just trying to save this money. Yeah. That money, that money's spent right now on the home. How can we turn this 50?
The interest ain't spent though.
How can we turn this 50 into something else now?
Yeah,
how can we turn this 50 into somewhere passively and then we can pay?
Yeah, I'd be much more interested in the next 15 years. I'm okay right now. I mean, I'm broke, but broke is relative.
We all broke, Shane.
Yeah, broke is relative.
Statistically, I think it's like 85% of Americans living paycheck to paycheck. Statistically,
that's probably true. Yeah,
I mean, real numbers. I want to say.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I'm like, can you imagine that?
I'm not living paycheck to paycheck.
85. I don't even get no fucking paycheck.
Yeah, so I'm not.
I'm definitely not living paycheck to foot to mouth, hand to mouth.
Hand to mouth. Yeah.
Hand to mouth, Shane.
But
ass to grass. I don't know. I'm making shit up now. I'm just throwing shit out there.
That's wild.
85% of Americans living paycheck to paycheck.
That's sad.
That's fucked
up. Especially one of the things I think about.
I think that's a national problem.
A lot of these people that are living paycheck to paycheck, they got a fancy car with a big payment.
I got that.
They got, I don't know if you have a tool for your business.
It is definitely a tool.
You have a payment,
and I use it. And I use it as a tool. But it's not no fancy car that I just look good in. That motherfucker get put to work.
And your truck it's a nice truck. Like I ain't done, it's better than my van, that's for sure. But at the same time, it's not $100,000 Denali with all the bells. You know what I'm saying? Like you bought
this is a work truck.
You bought what you needed to do what you needed to do for your family and for your business. But you didn't. You could get stupid. You could get stupid, and I would not say that you got I don't think your truck is fancy. It's nice. It's a good truck. I'm not downing it at all. But again, a brand new truck, $100,000 or whatever right now.
$100,000.
You get it with the backup assist. You got to back your own trailer up, don't you?
I back my own damn trailer up.
Yeah. If you had a Tesla, what is that, Cybertruck or whatever?
Cybertruck.
I'd be like,
them motherfuckers $100,000, and they look like shit.
Yeah, they do, and they're not.
Elon, your truck look like shit.
And
challenge me.
And they're not really.
I hope you hear this.
Elon. It ain't really a truck.
Well, we get Elon down here, man. That'll be cool.
Oh, that'd be wild.
That'll be wild as fuck, man.
Oh, I'd have some questions for him.
Get old Elon down here.
And I like Elon, but that Cybertruck is
that's a piece of shit.
It's a piece of shit.
Yeah. That's the ugliest thing you could have fucking.
It's ugly. The trim is put on with glue. Like a lot of the exterior trim is glued on.
That's what they saying. They.
Oh no, they're not built well. No. Have you know who Whistling Diesel is on YouTube?
Yeah. The one he be tearing shit up.
Just tear stuff up just to see how much
Ferrari.
It'll take.
He'll run a Ferrari off a cliff.
Yeah, whatever it is. Go mudding in it or whatever. He took one of those Cybertrucks and he was testing it up against like an F-250 or something, and he got the F-250 stuck on some kind of crazy mountain of logs or whatever, so he went to pull it out with the Cybertruck.
Ripped the ass in out of it?
Ripped the whole frame. Ripped the frame apart. Go look. You can look that up. Whistling Diesel Tesla truck. It ripped the frame. Yeah.
It's not a work truck.
No, it's not a work truck.
F-250 is a work truck.
Then he was like, I can't believe this happened. And he took that same F-250 and hung it from its trailer hitch by a crane.
And that motherfucker hung.
And it hung.
Yeah.
You can't do that with no Cybertruck.
You cannot do that with a Cybertruck.
No, you can't do that. And have you ever seen, oh shit, I'm sorry.
Damn, Sean, you kicking the shit out of me.
Kicking stuff over.
Yeah.
So, but I've also seen like some towing tests. I don't know if you saw that commercial where they had a Cybertruck.
Yeah, it was towing like a damn trailer or something. With
racing a Porsche or whatever it was.
Racing a Porsche, yes.
The Cybertruck won while it was towing another
Correct.
Porsche
I
just
did
like
see
it.
that, yes.
Okay, that's all well and good for the quarter mile. But if you hook a fifth wheel or a camper up to a Tesla and you try and drive it to wherever it is you're going camping, you ain't never going to get there. Because by the time
you don't even have the battery capacity.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. You know,
you'll go what, 50 miles?
I think it's a little bit more than that.
A little bit more on the damn charge.
But then you got to sit at the charger for however long it takes to charge the thing up to keep on going. Yep. And you got to find a place with a charger, you know.
And they say these electric vehicles don't do well in cold. Like sub-zero temperatures, they don't do well at all. Motherfuckers don't heat up. You don't get heat. Because you don't have that combustion.
Right.
I don't know. I'm still not totally sold on the whole electric vehicle thing.
Oh, I'm not.
To the battery technology, till they start putting like little mini nuclear plants in those motherfuckers.
Or something,
something, you know, little damn.
I think there's some solutions to
reactors,
it. And I'm not against electric at all. But here's part of the problem.
I'm not against it either, but I'm saying it's not in my cards at the moment.
No.
Not in my cards.
If you had the money to have like an extra vehicle. Now, here's another thing you could do. Have an electric vehicle for your everyday. Because let's face it, you know, even the least among electric vehicles will do 200 or 300 miles now on a charge.
Yeah.
That's going to get you through
around city. It might get you throughout the whole week. And you could just put the trickle charge at home or whatever.
And then if you need, that's assuming you're not having to tow something all the time. But let's say you want to go to Miami.
No.
You ain't going to do it in the electric.
No.
But if your electric was your everyday, for that once or twice a year trip, go ahead and rent you something. You know, it'll probably still be, you know, I don't know. I'm not against electric, but I'm like you. But here's the thing. We have 120 years or whatever of infrastructure built for combustion engines. 120 years from now, if we continue to invest in electric,
probably be flying by then.
Or whatever it is. Or we'll have charging stations where we'll have modular batteries, and the batteries will get better and better.
Swap them out like a DeWalt.
Swap them out like a DeWalt. Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
We got to, you know, somebody's going to have to go. And that's one of the things I think that Elon has missed the boat on, is rather than try to figure out, you know, they've tried to make a network of fast chargers. You see those Tesla chargers places or whatever, but with $5 billion or whatever Elon has, invest more in the infrastructure that's going to make electric cars and trucks like practical.
$400 billion.
Man, I don't know. Yeah, it's a lot.
It's hundreds of billions. He's worth hundreds of billions. Still, even, and he done lost a lot of his net.
So whatever that is,
whatever that's in, you know,
do your best to improve the electric vehicle technology like he's doing. And I think he's on the right track there.
I think
they should be spending more money on infrastructure and how to make that more convenient and practical for everyday use. You know, if you had a charging station where you could, you know, roll up and battery technology was standardized, and again, change out a battery like a DeWalt.
Like a DeWalt. Yep. You just
boop,
boop, boop.
Say it takes
a big ass crane. You got a crane operator, whatever.
Or whatever. However that works.
I'm imagining in my mind, because I worked in factories,
right?
And that's what they did with because all the pallet jacks are electric. They had these big ass rectangular square batteries. Then they had a battery room. And you had a damn crane
just
above us. You had a guy in there that operated the crane, or you could be signed off to operate the crane. You know, like supervisors, we could do it. And if that guy didn't show up to work, I would be the one to have to go change out the battery.
Right.
If that guy's at work, that's his job all day long, swapping out
batteries,
electric jack batteries.
And you could have charging stations instead of gas stations. You could have a charging station and somebody that's there, and you pay, you know, whatever fee you pay to, you know, swap out your. If your battery's got 30%, then you pay for the 70%
difference if you get a fully charged battery.
Hey, Elon, work on the infrastructure.
Yeah.
Quit boring them stupid tunnels in California.
Yeah, and get the fuck out of politics.
And get out of politics.
And work on your shit.
And do what you do best.
Yeah, do what you do best, Elon.
Listen, that SpaceX is amazing how they can catch a rocket like that. That doesn't even seem like it could possibly
that
be
shit
real.
Is crazy.
So I understand you have your ego that wants you to make a difference or leave a legacy, but your legacy is innovation, not politics.
Yeah. Stick to the innovation.
I'm with you on that.
Stick to the innovation. Elon.
And don't get me wrong now. I want somebody to open the books and find where we're wasting our money. I definitely want that.
You can fight all you want if the president just gonna go back and spend everything you done found.
And the next one's gonna, that's for sure.
It don't fucking matter.
Yeah, that's for sure.
They just print the shit off anyway. How are we in debt to ourselves, Shane?
That's a good question. Good question.
When we could just print the shit off. Nobody can answer that question. I haven't found nothing on that question. Okay.
Wait a minute, what's the question?
We trillions of dollars in debt.
Okay.
We can just print the shit off. We are the global currency. We control the currency across the globe. I mean, our currency is the standard, at least at the moment.
Right.
We're indebted to ourselves.
Okay.
How are we indebted to ourselves when we just print the shit off? We are indebted to you look up who we owe debt to. When they say, okay, the fucking
we owe
US
money
currency,
to other countries too.
We're indebted to ourselves mostly.
We are, yeah. Most of it is indebted to ourselves.
Indebted to ourselves to drive inflation. How are we indebted to ourselves when we can just print the shit off and we can just hit a button or hit reset on it? Print the shit off, pay what we owe to everyone else. Print off, if we owe, let's say across the globe, let's say we 50 trillion and then across the globe, we're maybe 20 trillion. Print off $1 trillion, pay everybody else we fucking owe that trillion, hit reset on the debt.
All right, I'm not an economist.
I'm not either, but I'm thinking
but
practically.
I know that won't work.
And I'm thinking, I'm using my common sense. Like I say, my common sense tell me the earth's flat.
Yeah.
My common sense tell me if I control the debt, if I control the currency that has the debt, why can't I just print that shit off?
And I think
and hit reset.
I think you're just as correct on both points. I think you're just as right about flat Earth as you are about being able to print the money.
There you go.
Which is to say, I think you're wrong on both points.
I get what you're saying.
Okay, so here's an example that I'll use. And again, I'm not an economist, and I'm probably not smart enough to, whatever.
I'm not either, Shane. I'm just thinking like a fucking just.
What do you know about the diamond industry?
Nothing.
All right, so I know a little bit.
Okay.
Just a little bit.
Okay.
Back in the day, the De Beers Company bought up a bunch of diamond mines in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Bought hundreds of thousands of acres of diamond mines in Africa. They've been mining those diamonds for all these years. And from what I understand, there are huge warehouses full of diamonds.
Okay.
That they hold in Africa. Like, however many diamonds, think about every diamond that everybody has in their ring, in their watch, in their necklace, whatever it is, all those diamonds. It's like 1,000 times that many. A girl's best friend. But there's 1,000 times that many diamonds. They sold us that bullshit, didn't they?
Okay, not.
You ever heard that Ron White joke about that? Remember their slogan was... I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm just... No, that's all right. I'm sorry, but the De Beers Company had a slogan that said, diamonds leave her speechless or breathless or whatever. And Ron White said, that's just another way of saying diamonds. That'll shut her up.
That'll shut her ass up.
But anyways, the point is there are stores of diamonds.
Okay.
1,000 times more than every diamond in circulation.
Mm-hmm.
If they just released all those diamonds into the market, diamonds would be worth about as much as cubic zirconium.
I got an argument for that. I see where you're going with this.
And so if you just printed money to get us out of debt, that money is now worth nothing. Mexico tried to do that 30 years ago, and now...
But Mexico didn't control the global currency.
That's true. But why do we... But
here's the thing. We're already feeling the effects if that money was still out there in the world.
Wait a minute, what?
With inflation. We're already feeling the effect of what you're essentially saying. The more money we put out there,
but
the less value it will have.
But partially
we already have the effects of the value, the less value that it have because of the debt.
But
that's what the inflation is.
Not necessarily. We have been printing money,
and it's going to continue to devalue.
Exactly.
Let's say that McDonald's used to have a dollar menu a couple years ago, 15 years ago. I grew up on a dollar menu.
Sure,
you can go fucking $5. You can get a meal
for sure.
Now it ain't no more dollar menu because of the inflation that's taking place.
So what causes
over the
inflation?
Years. The debt.
I don't think so.
Yes. So what causes it then?
Printing money to try and print our way out of debt.
When you print money, you create debt. We saying the same thing.
No, I think we're creating the debt and then trying to print money to get out of it. Okay, so we used to have something called the gold standard.
You can't they don't just print. They don't say, okay, we want to print $1 trillion off. That goes to our debt. If we do go print that $1 trillion off today, say we at 50 trillion right now, tomorrow our debt's going to be 51 trillion if they go print that money off. And then it's going to devalue the dollar even more. What I'm saying is we already have the effects of the printed off money with the inflation and the devalue of the dollar right now. So what's stopping us from just zeroing that motherfucker out and starting over? Since we control the global,
if we do that, we'll no longer control the global economy.
Well, I mean, that's gonna eventually happen anyway. At least get ahead of it right now, while we still do have the control.
Part of that is because we're printing money we're not printing money to replace the money that goes away. We're printing money to try to create more wealth.
That's what causes inflation. And I'm saying print the money to make the debt go away.
But if
get rid of the shit.
But if it's already not working, then it ain't gonna work if we're printing it more.
It's just zero. Send China damn $1 trillion on a computer. Send Russia whatever we owe them.
What makes money valuable? Why is money worth something?
People.
What do you mean?
We give it value.
What do you mean? Explain.
I got a $10 bill in my hand.
Right.
We both agree that this is worth $10.
Exactly. Yeah. So
and it's just a piece of paper. It's fiat. It's fiat currency. It really don't have no
currency.
value.
That's exactly right. It doesn't have any intrinsic value.
No intrinsic value.
It's worth $10 because we both agree that it is. Agree,
and it has a 10 written on it.
And it has
in God we trust in the United States.
So same thing with diamonds. Why are diamonds so expensive? Because everybody agrees and believes that it's worth that money. If we flooded the market with all those excess diamonds, then we would all, if you got, let's say you're a diamond broker and you got 2 diamonds to sell, all right? Or let's say 10 diamonds to make some easy math, all right? You have 10 diamonds to sell, and everybody wants a diamond to give to their girl, right? So if we're all lined up wanting those 10 diamonds, you say, well, I'm going to give my girl a diamond. I say, no, I'm going to give my girl a diamond. You say, okay.
It's only 10.
It's only 10. So what happens then is you tell the diamond broker, well, I'll give you 1,000 for that diamond. I'm like, oh, no, I want it more than you do. I'll give it 1,100. And eventually it's like bidding on an old car. Right. It's the same kind of thing.
So scarcity gives stuff value.
Scarcity. There you go. And so if we just print the money to quote unquote get ourselves out of debt, then that money's not worth anything and it won't pay off the debt.
Yeah, it will. Because I owe myself the debt.
We don't owe it just to ourselves, though.
Yeah, we do, Shane.
We owe China trillions of dollars.
Okay. Send them a check, hit a zero on the computer. Who cares?
But
we still control it. You're not hearing what I'm saying, Shane. We control it.
But it won't work that way. And the example that you just gave is the reason why.
I guess not, because they haven't done it. I guess that's
so. Why
I'm just speaking out my ass. I don't know. I'm not an economist, just like you. Not an economist. I'm just thinking like,
here's
if
the thing.
I control it, if I control the debt to myself.
Why is it that we control? Why is it that our money is the worldwide currency? Because everybody agrees that money is worth something.
We can whoop your ass if you don't agree.
True, but the reason why
that's why, because we got the military power to say that this.
You think we could beat China?
Yeah.
Hell
definitely.
no.
They can't fuck with us.
China would destroy us.
No, they cannot.
I disagree.
No, they cannot.
China would destroy us.
We'll wipe China out. If it got to that, we'll destroy each other. If it got
mutual destruction,
it'd be mutual destruction. If it got to that point, but can't nobody touch us, Shane. We protect it by water, and we got Mexico and Canada buffering us. You can't even you can't even get to us. For one,
I think you have.
We put a lot of money into our military industrial complex, Shane. That's why That's why no one still toppled us. We're going to destroy each other from within.
That's part of the reason, but part of the biggest reason why China won't attack us,
because they get their ass whooped. That's why they won't.
I don't think so. I think the biggest reason they won't attack us is because they rely on our economy to. They rely on selling us stuff,
correct,
to make their economy right. That's why they won't attack us, because if we're gone, then nobody's buying their shit.
They're cheap shit.
Yeah, or they're good shit,
and we won't have the cheap shit to buy.
Where do the vast majority of our pharmaceuticals come from? We found that out during COVID.
Wuhan.
Well, China in general. China makes almost all of our
Wuhan flu.
That Wuhan flu.
That China
makes the drugs that we use.
The China virus.
China makes every single
China
iPhone in the world.
They did.
Still do.
Didn't we put a hold on the tariff from them?
I think he reduced it.
Who does the tariff affect?
Everybody, I think.
It definitely affect us.
Sure, it's going to affect us, yeah.
Yeah, because they just go raise the price and tax us on the shit.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, you're definitely just going to...
80-inch fucking $500 TV that you can go buy now is going to be $3,000.
$3,000 or whatever.
Yeah, $3,000 whatever.
The consumer definitely pays for it, but the tariff thing is a different one. Although I think most real economists agree that the tariffs are not the best way to go. I don't know whether, but I think the theory behind that. I don't know the answer to that either. Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. But I think the theory behind that is to try to bring manufacturing back to the United States.
United States, correct.
And I'm behind that.
I think we all can agree on that.
I think we all can agree on that. Whether or not tariffs are the way that's going to do that, I don't know. I'm not smart enough to figure that out.
Yeah, I'm not smart enough either. I don't know the answer, Shane. I'm just a little Georgia boy,
but I do know
Georgia
you can't print your way out of debt.
If I owe myself the debt, I can. If I control it and I can hit the print button whenever I want, I think you can. That's my opinion. Yeah. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think
we ain't done it yet, so maybe not. It's
but
probably not that true.
Other people have tried it. Mexico tried it.
Other people who don't have power have tried it. We have power.
So you're saying
globally.
We should just use our bully might to force
we
the
do
world
it all.
to do
we do it all the way.
That don't make
we
it
always
right.
whoop ass. And
that don't make
whatever.
it right.
Overthrow regimes and shit.
That's
and bringing
true.
our own regimes. And
that's true.
Whatever.
We
exploit countries. Hey, Ukraine. I know we done sent y'all $300 billion, but y'all need to make this deal right now.
True.
We done sent you all this money, but we need to exploit your land for all your resources.
Or give us our $300 million back.
Or give us our damn $300 billion back. Matter of fact, get the fuck out the White House till you make up your mind. That's essentially what happened. Did you ever see the interview with him? I would have kicked his ass out too. Well, I can't even think of the Ukrainian president. Damn, what's his name?
Oh yeah, I don't know.
I can't think of
I don't know enough about any of those foreign situations to speak in an educated way.
I just say we just need to mind our business.
I think we need to mind our business.
Yeah, Russia
that's exactly
Ukraine.
what I think. Mind our business.
I'm saying, put it on record. Let them have it, man.
Take that
speak
military
the same
might.
language anyway.
Well, and here's the thing:
that might hurt somebody's feelings.
Most of these places that have been fighting for thousands of years.
Mm-hmm.
I know absolutely nothing about the Israel and Palestine thing, but I do know this: they've been fighting since Jesus was walking. How are we gonna stop that now? How are we gonna stop that now when they've been fighting all this time? It ain't gonna happen.
With me.
Crazy.
I don't know, Shane.
Mind our own damn business. Take that superior military might.
Y'all want to whoop each other's ass, whoop each other's ass.
Yeah, let them whoop each other's ass.
Whoop each other's ass.
We're going to put our military
no
on the
Americans
borders.
in danger? Okay.
Yep.
Fuck it. We'll have at it. They'll whoop your ass.
But the reason goes back to what you said is that we want their resources. Panama is a great example. We created the country of Panama.
We did build a Panama Canal, too.
But it wasn't Panama before that. There was no country there.
Uh-huh.
We carved out a country. We established a regime there and put them in power so that we could
did
build
give it
the
back
Panama
to them,
Canal.
though. Once we built it, we gave it to them. And
Did we?
They just had to give us access to it whenever we wanted it. I think that was probably a very simple way of saying it.
That's what they said on paper.
On paper.
That's what they said on paper. But we still control the Panama Canal. In reality. On paper, we may not. But in reality, we most definitely control the Panama Canal.
Yes.
And if they mess up too much.
Because I want to say their currency is dollar in Panama. I don't even think they have their own currency over there.
I think you're right.
I bet everything is ran by the dollar over there. Not no exchange. I think it's.
But we've been doing that forever. Why'd we go to Vietnam?
I don't know what the fuck we went out of Vietnam.
That was kind of a crazy one.
Yeah, where did we get out of Vietnam besides hundreds of thousands of Americans?
54,000. 54,000 died, and then probably another 100,000 bad wounded or whatever. Yeah,
I don't know.
I
don't know. I don't have the answer, Shane.
That's when I agree with you 100%.
I'm just talking out the side of my neck on shit and how I simplify stuff in my head because I'm stupid. So I have to very dumb it down. If I know I print the money, I control the money. If I'm the banker in Monopoly and I control the money on the board, what's stopping me from slipping me some money out of here every now and then?
Let's play Monopoly. I'll play Monopoly.
Pay the rent over here. Pay the rent over here. As long as nobody knows.
I'll play Monopoly with you.
Yeah, I love Monopoly.
But yeah. That's something I've thought about. We ought to have a game night. Everybody says they love Monopoly, right? What if we got all of our families together and just had a Monopoly night? That'd be fun as hell.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
That'd be fun as hell.
Don't be mad when I whoop your ass, though.
Shit, okay.
Bring it on. Like, oh, we can't be friends no more.
You'll probably beat me in basketball, but if you think you can beat me in Monopoly.
If I D fucked up, and I'm short.
I'll stand under the
you
goal.
got a sky hook
get the
on
rebounds.
You, you like old sky hook.
I used to have a
guy.
sky hook.
Yeah, you like once you get that sky hook down there, you might be damn hard
Jabbar
to stop.
Jabbar was my man, dude. I wanted to be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
That's a signature move in the NBA. A sky hook.
You can't defend it.
You don't even see it no more though.
No, nobody uses it. And
it's
I think
the 3-point. Now it's just 3-point.
That's all it is.
It's the step back 3-point.
Basketball's not the game it used to be.
Which I give James Harden the credit for that one. That step back.
I quit. I was a Lakers fan back when the Lakers were the Lakers. You know, Kareem and Magic and Cooper and Kurt Rambis and those guys.
You was a Larry Bird fan.
Well, here's the thing. I was born in Lansing, Michigan, and Magic is from Lansing, Michigan. So as much as I was a Lakers fan, most of that probably started because of Magic.
Okay.
Because of where he came from, and he's from my hometown. I've played basketball in the gym that he played in high school with his jerseys retired, hanging up on the walls. Everett High School is what it's called, where he went to high school.
The second episode, Magic done came up back to back.
Could be.
You talked about him clapping Arsenio Hall.
Clapping Arsenio. Yep. I don't care if he clapped Arsenio either. I still loved him. But then I loved the Lakers because of him, and then Kareem probably really set it over the edge for me. Because
the dream, man. Magic was the truth, man. I did like watching Magic play.
Yeah, he was something. But Kareem, you think about it too.
Kareem played up into his 40s.
Oh, easily, yeah.
Easily.
He was the all-time points leader until recently.
Thing, like how many games? Yeah, well, and I don't think they counted like the first couple years. They weren't keeping like track of points like that. His first couple years in the league.
Is it Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or Lou Alcindor?
he Kareem now. Kareem now. But he came in as Lou Alcindor. Then he found religion. Became a Muslim and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
What was that in Barbershop about Muhammad Ali? His mama called him Clay. I'm going to call him Clay.
That was Coming to America.
Was it coming? Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's right. It was in the barbershop. You're right.
Clay was a bad motherfucker.
His mama called him Clay. I'm going to call him Clay. Shout out Coming to America. What a great movie. Did you see the second one?
I'm going to call him Clay. That's how he did it. Yeah,
had his eyes all squinted up and everything.
I'm going
to call him Clay. Every one of those guys was Eddie Murphy, right?
Yeah, they all were played by Eddie Murphy. And that was back then.
Yeah. When that, they didn't have the CGI and all the things.
I think he's the one that really started that, like dressing up in different roles.
He had to get all that makeup and everything. Yep. I'm sure it was shot on different days.
Man,
what a unique talent.
That was a good ass.
Eddie Murphy is.
I'm gonna call him Clay.
I'm gonna call him Clay.
Oh shit, Shay. Yeah.
So where are you going this weekend?
We'll be in Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge.
We're leaving out Wednesday.
Okay.
Leaving out Wednesday, maybe afternoon, maybe after 12.
Okay. You gonna set up and sell popcorn down there?
No. Wife has a business meeting down there. That's where her company's headquartered at, in Baton Rouge.
Okay.
Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
You ever been there before?
Never. I've been to New Orleans.
New Orleans. I've never been there either.
Yeah, I've been
to NOLA.
I've been to NOLA.
NOLA.
New Orleans, Louisiana.
How'd you like it?
NOLA. It was a dump.
Yeah?
Yeah, it smelled like piss. Sewage.
Were you there during Mardi Gras or another time?
No, it was another time.
Okay.
Mardi Gras was when did we go? Mardi Gras, I think, was coming. Either we got there before or after Mardi Gras. But when you walk down, what's that? Bourbon Street.
Yeah.
Yeah, they was doing a lot of construction for one, and then it really, honestly, it just smelled like sewage.
Now, do they let white people come to
Yeah.
Are we allowed there now? Because right after Katrina, they said New Orleans will be a chocolate city.
Only the redheaded white folks.
Only redheaded white folks are allowed.
Yeah, you haven't heard?
No, I hadn't heard.
Yeah, so redheaded white people are the new black people.
What?
You haven't heard this, Shay? Have you heard this, Kevin? Redheaded white people are the new black people.
So what? They're gonna be slaves?
So they not. So look. So I feel, let me break it down to you. No, they're not gonna be slaves. That done ended. But
shit.
Redheaded white. Well, it's all we just paid.
It's
to be
millions
slaves
of
now.
slaves in the Congo right now for real slaves.
But instead of calling them gingers, they not gingers no more.
Okay.
They gingers.
Gingers?
You can't say, you can put the ER on it. You know where I'm going with this.
I think I do. I think I
like
do.
we ain't like,
right.
The N word ER,
right,
and then you got the N word AS.
Right.
The redheads are gingers now.
You're supposed to soften it up a little bit.
Gingers. They're not gingers.
You know, my wife has.
So when you call them a ginger, that's like calling us the N word. But when you say ginger, it's like, okay, you one of us.
As it happens, I'm married to a redhead.
She a ginger.
And she cares less if you call her a ginger. It don't make no difference to her.
It's been this funny meme going around the last like within the last month of how redhead people are the new black folks.
That's hilarious.
We not gingers no more. We're gingers. I can't believe you ain't heard that one.
No.
Oh man.
You know me, man. I stay in my cave.
They gingers now.
Gingers. Shout out
gingers.
I happen to be partial to redheads. I'm married to one.
You are married to
I
a
am
redhead.
married to one.
You are married. So
Wow.
what color does red hair eventually turn as they age, as redheads age?
I think it depends on the redhead, but Jessica's is turning silver. You could say gray, but it's actually I think it's beautiful. Her hair is. I think it's beautiful the way.
Like she still has some red in it, but the silver starting to come through.
Yep. And I think it's a beautiful combination.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, I'm a big fan.
That silver color.
I might have a redheaded daughter. We'll see. She's blonde right now, but you can definitely see red tint, especially in the sunlight. So, you know, we'll see.
Really starting to fill in and thicken up.
Yep. It looks more blonde until you really start looking at it, especially in the sun. You know, and then we'll see we'll see where it goes from there.
What comes out of it.
But I had very white blonde hair when I was a kid. And Daniel, my son, had.
I thought his hair is dark.
It is.
His hair is like,
but it was
dark brown.
It was Casper the Ghost when he was born. Well, he was bald when he was born, just like Madeline.
Like Madeline.
They were both bald as hell. Yeah.
Okay.
But then when his hair came in, it was the same color as Madeline's. And as he's gotten older, it's turned to the brownish color. But mine was too. If you see pictures of me when I was a little kid, I was blonde as Madeline. And now my hair's brown.
Uh-oh.
I feel like our sound.
Some changed on my mic there, Shane.
Just a little bit.
Hearing like a fuzz.
Should I speak up or speak down? I don't know.
Like a little fuzz.
Little
fuzz, Shane.
Fuzzy fuzz.
I'm glad you came down here today, man, to speak with us. It's my daughter's birthday today, too.
That's right. I forgot about that.
I actually thought about canceling out because it was my daughter's birthday.
Right.
I was like, shit, do I give them a heads up?
I would have understood for that.
I was like, you know what? This is the only time of the week where I get to go do something that I want to do.
Yep.
With no baggage.
No responsibility other than just,
So I almost feel responsible taking this time for myself. Sometimes you got to just put yourself first in certain situations.
I think it's important.
And we're definitely doing something for her tomorrow on her birthday.
For sure.
You know.
Going kayaking.
So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to cancel this time because I take this time personal for myself.
Sure.
For myself. So it kind of goes back to what you were saying a little bit. You know, like it's therapy. I get the fellowship with my friends. You know, the fellas.
It's important.
It's important to me. And it's one of the only times, honestly, throughout the week that I get to have some time to myself.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because outside of that, I either got my boys with me.
I was going to say, with all them kids you still got in the house.
All the kids I still got in the house. And my wife works now.
Right.
So they not in daycare.
Right.
While she's at work, they're with me. Even if I do have a gig to go to, I take them to work with me. Yeah. I take them to Green Street. I take them to Bailey Cove. I take them to Sunday Market.
And that's important. Well, I tell you what, watching Madeline and Enzo play Sunday was so fun.
Oh yeah,
that was, you know, I love watching kids together just in general.
Correct.
But the two of them always play well together. That was fun watching them play.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah, that was pretty wild.
I think they know each other now.
They know each other enough for their And as they grow older and continue to know one another, that'll just become more. Hopefully they'll be good friends.
Yeah. I hope so.
Look, if Enzo starts macking on my daughter, though, I got to be a father.
I think you got a wow. You got a wow.
No, but you know what? I'm kidding about that too because I firmly believe, as parents, we should step in as little as possible when it comes to those things.
Oh yeah.
If he asks her out and they go out, okay, they go out.
I had a proud dad moment the other day. I went to a field day with Leilani, and I let Leilani skip. I let Leilani skip school.
Okay.
When I have to go work an event, especially at a certain event at a school, because Sparkman Middle School, all the kids that fed into Sparkman Middle School came from Harvest Elementary.
Okay.
Leilani went to Harvest Elementary, but when she finished 5th grade, they did a rezoning. So she was going to originally go to Sparkman Middle with all her friends.
Oh,
but they rezoned us. She ended up having to go to Monrovia. middle school.
That's tough.
So she had to make new friends. You know, maybe one or two came over, but most of them went to Sparkman Middle because we were right on that line where they rezone. So like the front of our neighborhood go to Sparkman Middle, the back of the neighborhood go to Monrovia Middle.
That's wild.
The same neighborhood.
You could be neighbors
and one can
go to the same
and
school.
not go to the same school within the same neighborhood. So when I have an event at Sparkman Middle, I'll let her skip school just so she can go see her old friends. And it's a responsible thing because for one, she got all A's. She rarely missed school, so I don't feel guilty about it.
I don't think. Yeah, no, you shouldn't. And not for nothing, she's learning something by being a part of the business,
right?
By being it's not like it's not like you went to Six Flags. Although I wouldn't judge if you'd take her to Six Flags. But
well, she's my kid. Shit, I should if I want.
Yeah.
Hey,
take her. Yeah, that's your child.
We're going to fucking Six Flags today.
Yep. And principal better not say nothing about it either. That's not your business. But I don't. In this case, being part of the business is educational for her. She's learning. Even if she didn't have any responsibilities, which I know she does, but even if she didn't have responsibilities with the business, she's learning something about, just, where money comes from and how, that you have to work in order to have things and how to interact with people. And, there's a million lessons.
And it's like a reward for doing well in school. Sure. If you was failing your classes, of course I wouldn't
different be taking story.
It'd be a whole different story. It wouldn't be no question. I just do it on my own today, babe. But
and let's be 100% honest here. How much are they really learning in school?
Oh, man.
Let me ask you this. Let's say
public food system.
Yeah.
That's what I call it. Public food
system.
Yeah.
Let's say
public food system.
After middle school,
how much do you really
learn? Like if you had quit school after your first year of high school, say.
What would happen to you if you decided that I don't want my kids to go to school? No homeschool, nothing. I don't want them to go to school at all. They gonna have the school of life. What? Do you have the freedom to do that? You think, Shane?
No, you don't. No, you'd be arrested.
But should you have the freedom to do what you want with your own kids?
I do think you should have the freedom to do what you want with your own kids.
Yep. They'll come take your kids if you don't put them in school and probably lock your ass up.
Yeah.
Like seriously.
Yeah.
How free are we, Shay? We always go back to this discussion. And how free are we?
On this one, I agree with you. We had a crazy conversation earlier at the coffee shop. Let's don't get into those.
How free are we?
But
you finna come take my kid.
If you can't choose how you're going to educate your child,
I want to educate my child.
Then how free are you?
How free are you?
I agree with that. What if you kept your kids out of school and DHR shows up at your door and they say they're going to take them? What you going to do?
So now you finna lock me and my kids up.
What you gonna do?
Because I don't want them to go to school.
You gonna pull out your guns?
It might be.
They finna take them away.
It might be a standoff.
They finna take them away.
Honestly, it might be a serious standoff.
Yep. Very well. Maybe
you can stand out. You can stand on that front yard all you want. You try to come up in here.
If you try and take my kids,
are you willing to have this fight? Then you got to ask yourself, are you ready for this fight?
And that's the thing. That's a fight that you're not gonna win. The individual is not going to win.
You're not going to win individually. No,
they got the biggest gang in the world. You're going to make a splash.
You make a little splash.
But they're still going to get your kid.
Like I had this conversation with my son the other day. We was talking about driving, and I know we talk about driving.
Right.
And like I said, okay, I can see I see myself rescinding my license to the state of Alabama. I see myself putting a tag on the back of my truck that says private property. No Alabama tag. So of course, I'm going to get some heat about it. Cop comes up to my window, say, I need you to get out your car because I'm about to tow it because you're not legal. And I don't even know this car belonged to you.
Right.
This truck might be stolen.
You might have
because you can't even show me paperwork that you own it, even though it's my truck. But then you ask yourself, so you about to steal it? Since you assuming that I stole it? Then you got to ask yourself, okay, what are you willing to do for your property? Am I willing to really push it to that point? Like, okay, you try to take my truck from me, you're going to have a fight.
Who's going to win that fight?
The biggest gang in the fucking world.
The biggest gang in the world is going to win that fight. Because here's the thing.
But dude, the question the officer has, do he want this fight right now, though? I bet.
He's going to want that fight.
You want the fight?
Yeah, he's going to want that fight. And he's going to call all of his gang members.
Then it gets to the point, okay, it's going to be what they call it when you, like someone pull a gun on me, I got the right to pull a gun on them. What's the word I'm looking for, Shane?
A standoff?
You punch me in the face, I got the right to punch you back in the face. Applied force.
Applied force.
I'm going to treat you how you treat me.
Okay.
I don't want no problem.
Right.
I'm minding my business. Now, are you willing to let me go, or are you trying to push your justice on me right here on the side of the road?
Pragmatically speaking, though, what's going to happen? You're not going to win that.
Either I'm going to jail or I'm going to die.
Right. But one way or another, you lost.
You're going to lose.
You're going to lose.
Yeah, you're going to lose in the long run.
The question becomes not whether or not the officer is willing to do, but what you're willing to do.
How far I'm willing to take it.
Are you willing to risk your life and your family's life over this principle that you don't think you should have to get a driver's license?
No, that's a right. I shouldn't have to get a driver's license.
Okay, are you willing to risk you and your family's life on that?
I had this, my son asked that exact question. I said, I think I am.
You're willing to allow your children to get killed.
Certain things you got to. Certain things certain men have to stand on.
That's true, and so that's a hill you're willing to die on. You're willing to die on the hill of a driver's license.
I think that might be a hill I'm willing to die on, Shane. I say that. I haven't been put in that situation. I say that sitting here in this chair talking to you.
So
on the side of the road might be a different story.
I love you like a brother
with the blueberries flashing.
I love you like a brother, and if you call me at 2:00 in the morning and say somebody's breaking into your house, I'm gonna come with my guns. But if you call me from the side of the road saying they got the gang here, you on your own on that one, bro. Because you got to pick your battles.
You got to pick your battles, Shay. But the question is, when do people stand up for what you believe is right? When do you say, okay, fuck, we finna sit in slavery for another 400 years?
That's a great question.
I'm not willing to die for this.
But I think it's
we finna allow the Germans to come in and just kill all the Jews because I don't think that's right.
It's a big stretch from required to have a driver's license to Holocaust.
I just want to be a free citizen, Shay. I'm minding my business. I'm not hurting nobody. Now, when do you say give me liberty or give me death?
Not over a driver's license.
What if I look at the driver's license like you taking my liberty away?
Because here's the thing. Well, you can look at it like that.
You're taking my freedom away from me.
Nobody's saying that you can't drive. They're saying you have to go through this very small inconvenience.
You call it a small inconvenience. It might not be a small inconvenience for me. I might feel like it's fucking they putting a squeeze to me and they just taxing me another way.
And I'm tired of it. You will die on that hill. You will die on that hill. And if I'm going down a hill, it's going to be a shitload more important than a driver's license. I'm just going to tell you that now. Now, you come to take my kids, that's a hill I'll die on. That's a whole nother story. I'm going to die on that hill.
Because you say I can't put them, because I don't want to put my kids in your public school system.
I got to go sit down at the DMV for an hour and pay you $50 or whatever it costs for a driver's license. I may not like it, but I ain't finna die on that hill. That's not a hill I'm going to die on. No matter how strongly I may feel that, and I don't feel, by the way, that that's an imposition. I do feel like that we should have a driver's. We had this conversation before, but
it comes back
giving
to,
it to
it
the,
comes back
you know,
to just
that
how
is
free. How free are you?
Yeah.
How free are you, Shane? How free are you willing to be? They say we the land of the free, home of the brave, but it sounds like we the land of the fee, home of the slave.
On a lot of issues, I agree with you, but not driver's license.
Okay.
I don't agree on that one.
That's just where we go have to just
And the great thing about
respectfully disagree.
That's the thing about
boss man telling us to cut it.
He's been saying it for a minute. He said it a minute ago, and I just looked away.
I act like I didn't see him too.
Well, you know what? I keep touching the microphone. I know better than to do that. You know, I have had a tough month. As I mentioned, I've had a tough month, and today it's kind of culminated a little bit. I don't know why. You know how sometimes it just kind of gets you. But I came down here for the fellowship, but I also came down here to learn something.
Okay, Shane. You know,
and I feel like I have.
I'm glad you feel like you have, Shane.
I definitely feel like I feel like I always do.
I try to be a man of constantly learning. Try to be a man of stoicism. I try to be a man of wisdom, you know, and we all said that wisdom is having the knowledge and experience and applying it.
There you go.
You know, ain't no point in having knowledge if you're not even using it.
True.
So,
and knowledge in and of itself is not wisdom.
Right.
Knowledge plus experience.
With application. I'm going to throw another one with application. Yeah. You got to be using it. I can know that's not right, but still do wrong. Damn, did I say that right?
No, I think you did.
Okay.
I'm just contemplating.
I'm saying you have to apply what I learned. I learned, man, if I keep touching that stove, it's going to burn me. Right. I know it. But damn, I can't stop touching that stove.
But if you still touch it.
It hurts so good. It burns so good. It burns so good, Shane.
But if you still touch the stove, did you still have wisdom and you chose not to apply it? Or is it only wisdom if you choose to apply it?
I think you have to use it. Knowledge is, they say knowledge is power. It's not power unless you're using it. I can sit on it. I can have it in my head all I want. What power am I giving it just sitting on my hands?
I agree with that. Sure.
Yeah.
I think knowledge is knowledge. Knowledge plus experience is wisdom, and wisdom plus application is power.
Is the power?
That's how I would say it.
How you start to unpack it a little bit more.
Wisdom plus application is power.
So I heard something. So this is a quote from Aristotle, Shane.
Oh, okay.
It's an Aristotle quote.
Going back to Greek philosophy.
Greek philosophy, okay. Shane. And I can't wait till the day where I start to make up my own shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I might even be a quote right there. Make up your own shit.
Make up your own shit.
I can't wait till the day to make up my own shit. I don't know, Shane. But Aristotle said, you are what you repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence ought be a habit, not an act. And I want to apply that to your life, Shane. You are what you repeatedly do. And excellence ought not be a habit, but an act.
Excellence ought not be an act, but a habit.
Act, but a habit. Yeah. Ought not be habit, not an act. Let's read it all over.
Say it, yeah.
Excellence. Aristotle said, you are what you repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence ought to be habit, not act. So I think you are practicing excellence, Shane, when you hit that grind and you hit that hustle, even if you're not seeing the results, even when you're getting rained out, you are practicing excellence because you still repeatedly doing what you have to get done. Discipline, I said last week, is doing what needs to be done, even if you don't want to do it. So not only are you practicing discipline, you're also practicing excellence. And with that, Madeline sees that. Madeline catch you practicing discipline and excellence every day. She see you get up and pack that van. Every day she see you pull up to an event, unpack that van. Every day she see you pull up, pack that van back up. Whether you had a good or bad day, she said excellence when she looks at you. And everyone around you see excellence when they look at you. So that's what I want to leave you with today, Shane.
That's very kind.
You're excellent, bro.
Thank you, sir. I feel the same about you. And I needed that today.
There it is.
That's a good place to leave it.
Yeah, I think so.
This is Vendor Chronicles.
Vendor Chronicles.
Peace.
Hey.